so fun. Everyone who we've spoken with who knows that you were coming on our show this morning was so excited to hear you talk about this. They love the song. You also know there's been some folks who have been upset on social media, which I think kind of speaks to just how sensitive the topic of vaccine hesitancy is. What do you say to them?
You know, a lot of people lost family members, so I send out my condolences to them and their family, and I want them to know that I hurt just like they hurt. I have the same. I've lost family members too, and it's a scary, it's a slippery slope. So what I say to everybody else outside of this speaking on it, man, just get educated. I'm not telling you, forcing you or pushing you to go get vaccinated. I'm telling you, make a family decision. Talk to your family, get educated on it, and make the right decision.
You feel better being double vaccinated at this point?
Yeah, I do. I actually do, but I'm still wearing my mask, social distancing.
I just saw Godfrey's reaction to this. Godfrey, comedian Godfrey, and apparently there's a lot of there's a rift in the black community about Juvenile doing this remix of "Back That Thing Up." I don't even know how I feel about this right now because on one side, we need to be safe out there. I got two family members right now. One is recovering from COVID. The other one is not, and it's the Delta version. One of them, a younger person in his 20s, I think maybe 27, 28, is still doing pretty bad from COVID. I just like I'm not unique in the situation. Just like a lot of people watching this, we know people who died from COVID last year, either this year. Listen, people, it's real. It's real. I'm vaccinated. I'm double vaccinated. I mean, I'm fully vaccinated, and I'll probably go back and get the booster shot. I realize that being black, there's a lot of trickery involved. Some experiments that were done on us back in the day. And you got to be really, really skeptical. There's at the same time when you see in front of your eyes people, like one day you see him at the gas station, shake his hand. 2 weeks later, this happened to me. He's dead. And because you didn't know he was sick, you didn't realize he was sick. When all of a sudden you hear, oh, such and such is dead, COVID. It's like, what? I just saw him, and so this is a touchy subject to me. I was one of the first ones on the whole conspiracy theorist movement. Man, back 2007, 2008, I was a nutcase when it came to conspiracies. And look, some of these things are not really conspiracies. Some of these things are actual, real things that are going on. But with COVID right now, I've seen too much evidence that it's out there, it's real. It's one of these very mysterious illnesses that, it affects certain people different ways. You can be asymptomatic. You can be, it's killed young people. They say if you're high risk, you're more likely to die. But I know people who wasn't high risk that almost died. So we're kind of like speaking on something that we don't really understand. We don't really fully understand ourselves. And to Godfrey, I understand. You brought up the Tuskegee experiments. And as far as I remember watching that movie as a kid. I guess it was a case where they were using black people to as test dummies, basically, with syphilis. I think it was syphilis. And it was other things out there too. So it's a legit argument. It's a very legit argument. All I'm saying is I wouldn't be so quick to speak on something without knowing all the facts. As far as putting a beat behind it, that was one thing Godfrey he mentioned. I guess you figure that you put a beat behind it, people are gonna go get vaccinated. I guess that's kind of degrading, or saying that black people are we got to have some type of beat to listen to anything. I'm gonna be honest with you, Godfrey. That's absolutely true in some cases. That's absolutely true. You can't put a blanket on all black people. Not all black people think like you and I. Not all black people are educated. Let's be honest. Not all black people are. I think that we're in, as a race, in a predicament that we're in because a large amount of black people have a certain way of thinking. And that's just the truth. Maybe you haven't been poor in so long, or broke in so long. You still got a large amount. I'll use this as an example, and this is a very touching example. Shout out to Spike Lee. If you never seen Spike Lee's documentary, When the Levees Broke. And I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible, but that documentary made me break down in tears because Juvenile is from New Orleans. So many black people died in New Orleans during the Katrina hurricane after those levees broke, because that was a representation of a large group of people who were not thinking on a different level. In other words, I actually almost stood up at a Carlos Mencia comedy show. I was in Iraq, and he was talking about the black people in New Orleans that died, and he was being very derogatory. He was making a big joke about the thing, and me being from where I'm from, a very poor community in South Carolina, grew up very poor. I realized why those people didn't leave New Orleans. A lot of times, they didn't have vehicles. In most cases, they didn't have vehicles, and for the ones who did have vehicles, they wasn't thinking about levees breaking and all that stuff. So, Juvenile and Manny Fresh and Mia X, that's one person you didn't mention, Mia X, a very nice female lyricist. Those three, I'm sure they got paid for it, but at the same time, did they really get paid much? I don't think so. I think they were actually listening to that BLK, the dating site, taking in consideration that you have a lot of black people out there that's not vaccinated, and the only way you're probably going to get through to them is to get creative and make a song about it. I mean, hell, that might be an issue. That might be degrading to certain people, but I don't think the people listening to the song, dancing to it, I don't think it's degrading to them. I don't think they believe it's degrading. A lot of times our education, or our, supposed education, because a lot of times we're not even educated. We're just saying things, we're repeating things, trying to, I don't know. This is no shot at anybody. All I'm saying is we don't know enough about this vaccine, and I'm vaccinated, okay? Fully vaccinated. We know this. The vaccine helps against COVID. We know that the vaccine helps against Delta, that different version, and other versions. It may not stop it, but they say that it reduces the symptoms. You may not have to be hospitalized or whatever. So let's just go with that, man. And everybody has a voice, so go ahead and speak. But I got a voice too, so I'm gonna give my little spill. But we fire back at each other so quick. And sometimes you just gotta assess the situation before you make a video about it. Shout out to all of New Orleans. Shout out to Juvenile. Shout out to Mia X. Shout out to Manny Fresh. Shout out to everybody involved with making that video. I mean, I'm not saying it was right, but I'm saying I think I know where your heart was when you made it. Juvenile, has been a predominant pillar in the black community since the 90s, since the late 90s. All of Cash Money, Hot Boys. Shout out to Manny Fred. Shout out to Baby. Shout out to Lil Wayne, Turk. Shout out to all of them. You know, and I know Mia X is No Limit. Shout out to all New Orleans, man. Master P, all of them. All of them. Yeah, that's my only thing, man. I just think that we kind of like quick to shoot each other down before we really know the whole context of what's going on. You know. But yeah, let me get back to watching these videos. I got to go and take the trash off in a little bit. Y'all have a wonderful Saturday.